Welcome back to Pause to Consider, sometimes Talons and Beaks, with your host, Alyssa Lakota. I am a registered veterinary technician, or in other words, a nurse to wildlife and domestic species. So this summer is especially hot everywhere. Record high temps are being broken across the globe, and therefore it is imperative that we take into consideration the safety and welfare of our furry friends during such hot days. Just because you want to go for a run or a bike ride doesn't mean that your dog can tolerate it. Feel the ground. Is it hot to the touch? Is it too hot for you to walk on or to run on barefoot? If so, it's too hot for your dog too. Don't mistake their willingness to go with you as a sign of happiness and comfort. After all, they are loyal to a fault sometimes, often to their own detriment. Their paws get burned, blistered, bloodied, and torn apart after running or walking alongside their owner on the hot pavement or hot dirt. Remember, too, that they cool off by panting, and if they're panting too hard, you're pushing them too hard. Now let's take a quick look at the length of fur your dog has, because oftentimes owners like to give them a shave during the summer months to keep them cool, but they're actually doing the very opposite. Your pet's fur actually thermoregulates their body, meaning it keeps them warm during the winter and cool during the summer. So if you shave it off, you're exposing them to the elements, and in the case of summer, that means extreme heat and sunburn. Yep, your dog can get sunburn too. Now, what about driving to a grocery store with your pet or someplace where you intend to run indoors for just a quick minute? Think twice. Let's say it's 70 degrees outside. Even with the windows down, after 10 minutes, your car is now 90 degrees, and after 30 minutes, 105 degrees. Let's say it's 80 degrees outdoors. Your car can heat up to 100 degrees within 5 to 10 minutes, and at 30 minutes, it's at 114 degrees. 90 degrees outdoors, minutes later, 110 inside your vehicle, and 125 degrees in 30 minutes time. I don't even want to think about the temperature inside your car with temperatures above 100 degrees, which is being experienced, again, across the globe in so many places. So your pet is literally at risk of dying from heat stroke within minutes. I'm not even joking. Heat exhaustion occurs when their core temperature reaches 104 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, they may experience difficulty breathing, pant heavily, experience excessive thirst. Their tongue could be bright red with thick saliva and drool. Their heart rate and respiration rate will be quickened. They may vomit or have diarrhea. They can be unsteady on their feet, staggering, or lethargic. And after 15 minutes, your dog can experience heat stroke. This is when the core temperature goes even greater than 105 degrees, typically between 107 and 109 degrees. They can collapse, experience seizures, slip into a coma. Then their organs can shut down and fail, which is then quickly followed by death. And by the time signs of heat stroke are visibly recognizable, it's often too late. So again, I want to reiterate, this can happen in mere minutes. Now let's say you suspect that your dog is experiencing heat exhaustion or heat stroke. You want to quickly move them into a shaded area and pour lukewarm to cool water across their body, especially along the underside. Do not use cold water. This can actually throw their body into shock and hasten death. Do not lay wet towels across their body either. This can actually trap their body heat and be counterproductive. You will also want to get them to an animal hospital immediately. Their core temperature needs to be monitored, and if you are working to bring it down, you want to make sure you do not go below 103 degrees because their body will actually continue to drop in temperature even after you've stopped working to cool them off, and it can drop to critical levels. So it is very important to move them quickly to an animal hospital. And another thing to note, there are certain breeds that are at greater risk, are brachycephalic breeds. These are the animals that have those short snouts and squished faces like pugs and bulldogs. They're already predisposed to breathing difficulties, and we're just adding to it when they experience heat exhaustion or stroke. Additionally, animals that are obese, young, or elderly. They too are at greater risk. In some states, people are allowed to break a car window if they see an animal in distress. So do you know the laws in your state? It's definitely worth looking up, be it for the safety of an animal you see locked inside a car, or for others if they decide to take action if you left your dog in a hot car. And another thing to just mention quickly here, because a lot of people have cars that they can turn on and leave the AC running with their animals inside, just be aware some of these newer cars have that ability. So, touch their car. If you feel the engine running or you look in and you can see the AC is on, they don't look distressed, don't necessarily go breaking their windows. They could be fine. Don't hesitate to contact local authorities if you do think an animal is in distress. Now let's talk a little bit about strays and also animals that are tied up in a backyard or left in a backyard. They need to have constant access to fresh, clean water and shade. And while dog houses are great, if they're in the heat of summer sun, they'll heat up like an oven. So consider hosing down an area of the ground to keep it cool. You can put wet blankets or wet towels on the ground. That way an animal can lay upon those and cool their body temperature. And again, we want to provide a source of shade. So put up some tarps to create shade if there's no trees or natural shade available. And just because there's shade in the morning doesn't mean there's going to be shade in the afternoon. So know the path of that sun and where shade occurs during each hour of the day. You want to make sure you provide them with adequate shade. Same with our strays. It's all going to help them stay alive during the heat of summer. And I want to apologize if I sound like a drill instructor. It's because I'm very passionate about the subject matter. So I get a little heated under the collar, pun intended. So don't take it personally. I care about your pets and everybody's pets, as well as my own. Thank you for listening to Pause to Consider, Sometimes Talons and Beaks. Please click follow in order to be notified when the next episode is up and running. Stay cool out there. Tune in, tune out, just don't pass out.